finally gonna make a yarn bowl. I've been wanting to make a yarn bowl since a long time now. And I found a design by another turner, and I think that it is just the sexiest yarn bowl I have ever seen. And so, I am going to try to create a yarn bowl in the style of Hula Woodworks. I'm gonna put the hula hook in it. So, this blank is black walnut. Comes to me from my friend Jason. Yay, thank you, Jason. And I am going to, since it's already mostly round and it is dry, it's about 9%, I'm just gonna go ahead and use the rough hole that he did for a wormwood screw. And I think what I'm gonna do is put I'm gonna put a mortise in this. And I want this end to be, oh wait, is that how I want that? No. I want to keep the sapwood. I like the sapwood. So I need to drill a hole on this side so that I can put the mortise on this side. Okay, hold on. Hold on. I'm telling you, if I can make a bowl half as sexy as Hula's yarn bowls, I am going to be just totally stoked. All right, so I'm not sure that I have a real good fit with the wormwood screw, so I'm not going to worry too much about cleaning up the ripples or the wobbles on the sides. I'm just going to get mortise put in here, go from there. You can hear the fan from my Trend AirShield Pro humming in the background there. I use the audio from the overhead camera, so it's right underneath it. I may have to switch the audio to one of the other ones. I used my round carbide for most of the hollowing in conjunction with my gouges, and then I went back over with my negative rake carbide and a negative rake bowl scraper trying to clean up some of the tear out, and I just could not get it to go away. Oh, it's the next day. I'm still sanding. I hate sanding. The outside I've gotten through 80 grit and I should be okay here. I have still a couple of spots where I've got some tear out in this transition that I'm really struggling with getting out. I don't think that you'll be able to see it from this video, but I took a still shot with my phone and I'll put that up. But it's just at such an angle that I can't get at it even with a real big squishy pad. It's just not getting down in there. And I don't have a 90-degree drill or grinder thing yet with a short head on it. So I'm going to improvise with my little mini angle grinder. When I first started carving, I ordered one of these carbide donut bits in the 4.5-inch version, and I got it home and I looked at it and I put it right back in the box and I sent it back to the store, and then I got this little mini angle grinder because I was just terrified of that great big one. I'm not scared of them anymore, and I am going to do a review on that graph carving disc that they gave me, but I am going to wait until I replace my grinder with one that has a paddle switch on it. The one that I have right now is the kind that you just push on and it locks, which is fine for sanding and stuff, but I've heard of people who have had accidents because the grinder either kicks back or they lose their grip, and if that blade is still spinning, it's bad news. Anyway, so I'm just going to show you guys this because I sort of modified this back when I was doing more carving. So I'm going to try not to drop everything down the lathe bed hole. All right, so you can buy all kinds of 2-inch discs, King Arthur and whatever. I have a little chainsaw one for it too. This I don't want it to be quite this aggressive, and I don't want it to be quite that firm. So when I wore out one of these pads, I kept it and then I just epoxied some of the Velcro on it. So now I can install this. Probably my head's in the way of the camera. Back in there. Maybe. Come on now. And then I can put a 2-inch squishy pad on it, and then put a better one than that, but a 2-inch pad, and I'm hoping that I can get at it like that. So I'm going to work on this for a little bit longer because I really don't want any tear out in the inside of this. I'm going to go back to sanding, and I will be back when it's time to do something else. Wish me luck. It's a bit dusty in here. Okay, so now for the fun part. Now we're gonna do the hula hook. Hula Woodworks I believe that he has a YouTube channel. He also has a Twitch live stream. I don't know what they call them, channels. Anyway, he's on Twitch. I just watched his entire live stream on how he does his yarn bowls, which I think are the most beautiful yarn bowls that I have ever seen. I love the way he does the hook, and so from now on I'm just going to call it the hula hook. So one of the things that I like about his design, and I'll put some pictures up, is this part is actually a circle. I've tried to make yarn bowls a couple of times before and try to do like a big spiral, and this part always gets super thin and wants to break off. And this design not only looks cool, it's very practical. So I really like the sapwood. And so I think I want to put the hook over here on this side. But this way I can I have kind of a place to start, and then, you know, I can change this and follow the grain along and shape it a little bit differently. But what I think I want to do is maybe put, because this will all be the cutout. I think I want to put this somewhere up in there. Or do I start it over here? Maybe I do that. Kind of follow this one down to here, and then I can come up. Maybe. That will save this color, which is so cool. What do I do with my pencil? There are 4 of them over here on the table. Okay, so just draw something. Just don't worry about it. Just mark something out and you can move it and erase it and all the things. It's just a general idea for now anyway. Okay. So I want to all right, tell you what I'm gonna do. I'm gonna just go ahead and put the hole there. He started with a pilot bit, a pilot hole, which will help the Forstner bit. Let's see, where do I wanna try and drill this? Sort of sideways. I'm gonna put it right there. Or maybe there. Okay. Here we go. Ah! All right. Okay. So gonna start right there. And it's already gonna wander on me. Maybe that's just my own. What? I have no idea if any of these are sharp because I've had them for ages. Let's use one that I've probably not used a whole lot. How about a 9/32? Let's see if I can get this thing to stay where I want it to go with the brad point. I'm not sure why the fact that it has sharp teeth means you should wear safety goggles, but what do I know? Never used one of these before, but how does that lock? Does it lock? I don't know. Are there instructions? I don't know. All right, well, I had to figure it out myself because there aren't any instructions on this, but apparently I need to turn it so that I can get at that cut that way. So I guess what I need to do is loosen this enough that I can spin this blade. That should work. I think that should work. And then tighten it without losing the angle I just put on there. Okay. Seems like kind of a, I mean, it's nice because it seems tool-less, but it's also kind of awkward. And this one is cutting on the push stroke. Some of them cut on the pull stroke. That's just how the blade came installed. All right, so now So the reason I was holding the coping saw at both ends is because Hula had suggested keeping your hand over the end that's inside the bowl in order to help keep you from, scratching up the inside of the bowl while you're cutting out the rest of the hook. That turned out not to be an issue for me because I scratched it up with the files. So I ended up having to go back and resand the inside after I got the hook finished up, which was a bummer because y'all know how much I love sanding, but it's my first one. I'm sure I'll get better. I don't know the proper names for what the files are, but I used a handful of the regular large files, kind of coarse, and then I have a cheap set of wood rasps that are also pretty coarse, so I used those. And then I also have a whole bunch of little rifflers, and I used those. They're a little bit fine, but they were good for the real tight areas. Here I'm just going back over and trying to refine that curve and, make it a nice, smooth transition. My dad gave me a whole bunch of really nice cloth-backed sandpaper, so I'm just tearing off strips in the variety of grits and then working on smoothing this off even more. I also have this giant round file, which is nice for working on the hole. And then I moved down to a smaller diameter round file, and now I'm using one of the sanding sleeves from a drum sander with some sandpaper wrapped around it. Because I sanded up to 800, I'm gonna not do the axe on this one. I'm just gonna go right to the Brad's sanding paste, which is extra fine, and gonna do that. So it's got 1 coat of 1 pound cut shellac, a pretty healthy coat of that. I kind of went over it a little bit more. Oops, come back here. I'm using my little dish scrubby trick to hold the paper over the areas where the voids are, in hopes that I can build up enough friction to make the abrasive paste do its thing, but keep my fingers far enough away from it that if something did get hung up, it's just going to grab that dish scrubby and throw that across the room. That's looking pretty sexy. We are gonna do tongue wax finish. Our new used camper came with a small refrigerator, like, as part of sort of an outdoor kitchen where you could, I don't know. There's not a grill with it, so I'm not sure what you would do with it. Anyway, so it was in the back storage thing, and we needed that for storage more than we needed a second refrigerator, so I absconded with that and put it here in the shop. And I keep all of my Starbond CA glue in there, and all of my sanding pastes and the tongue wax and stuff. And that helps things that have drying oils like tongue oil in them not oxidize. I've got another little idea that I'm gonna play with for that at some point in my spare time, which is never, of course, but it's on my list. And if I ever get that far, I'll let you guys know how my little experiment comes out. The hula hook. I like it. I like it, Hula. So this is one of those situations where I'm going to show you guys what to do if something bad happens or something goes wrong. Now, nothing has really gone wrong, but that's just too thin to leave that. I just don't like it. So I'm going to go ahead and do something similar to what Hula does. He puts a really cool ring around the outside of this bowl, and then the rest of it is lower than that. This is a practice piece of Petri resin thing that my friend Miriam gave me. So because this is thin and I have to use a jam chuck, I don't have cold jaws. I'm gonna use not the side that was up because it's got this little lip on it. I'm gonna use the flat side. I made a center and I was gonna center it like this, but it's really, I think I'm gonna be just as well eyeballing it. So I'm gonna put some double stick tape in here. And then I'm going to spend an hour trying to get the tape off. Or the backing, I mean. Okay. Now I'm going to put my head in the way. And I'm just going to try and center this the best I can. And see if this tape will stick to it. So far that's a negative. It's too shiny. All of this thing is going to do is going to serve as hopefully a backing plate to go against the jam chuck. So we're going to just throw caution to the wind, which might be famous last words or something. I don't know here. Let's see. And I'm going to get a paper towel. And I'm going to use this cone center so that it's not going in on the point. Hopefully that will help it distribute spread out the force a little bit. Can't think. I'm all discombobulated now. Please don't break. Please don't break. Okay. I wasn't really sure how I was going to finish this when I started the project. What Hula does is that he does all of the sanding and everything on the lathe, and then he does the finish off the lathe. He uses a Danish oil and then hand rubs a wax in. I decided that I was going to try my normal process with the abrasive paste and Brad's tongue wax, which would have been fine if I had just gone ahead and finished the bottom off while I had it on the original wormwood screw. I was thinking that I was going to have an opportunity to take care of this after the fact, which is how Hula does it, but he also does all of his finishing at the same time after it's off the lathe. So I was very proud of myself for not throwing a tantrum. I just decided, okay, well, I guess we're going to take this back up a little bit further and blend those big gouges in. Oh, that's incredibly annoying. But this is what happens when you start messing with stuff. So my plan right now is, because I jacked up the sides so much, I'm gonna put it back on the other mortise, the original mortise, so that it will run true, hopefully. The other thing that I think works so well with Hula's design is that the bowl is left a little chunky. It needs to be a little bit bottom heavy if it's going to, hold still when you're pulling the yarn out of it. Fortunately, I had plenty of thickness along the side. I'm just thin in the bottom, in the very middle, and that's mostly because I used that giant drill bit, which has a really big drill bit point on it, and then I used a mortise, which I don't always do. So between the two, I lost a little bit more thickness than I was planning on, but that's okay. I'm going to fill the bottom spot with resin once I get this thing all done, just to add a little bit of extra weight, and it's going to be fine. Considering all the boo-boos that I had in this process, I am really quite pleased with how this came out. I think that it is just lovely, and I am definitely going to be making some more. So here's the hook for the little bit of Bailey. We live in Michigan, where we have black bears in the area, but we very rarely see them at our place. Last week, about 8:30, it was still light out and the bird feeders were still up. We had a mother and probably a yearling cub come and try to raid the bird feeder. She knocked one of the poles down, and Bailey says scaring away bears is very hard work. A couple of days later, I went out to put the feeders away and there was a rustling in the shrubbery. I just about peed myself.
I don't know if you can see what that is or not. Oh goodness. Oh my goodness. Oh dear.
Oh, we gotta keep an eye out for that little feller. Thank you guys so much for watching. I really appreciate it. Until next time, y'all be safe out there.